Rejoice, my Blue Eyes followers, for I've returned with an update to my Branded Blue Eyes deck. This time, I feel like it is a lot stronger in this current meta, and now that Branded is everywhere. Blue Eyes being the previous structure deck that was taking over the format, now that the new Branded structure deck is the new cool kid on the block, I feel like this deck is even stronger. I'll show you why as I go over the combo after we do the quick deck profile, because in a format where power creep never sleeps, in order to survive, Blue Eyes needs to use the most degenerate win condition it has, thanks to the one card that basically everyone has been asking to be banned for years now. I feel like this is definitely the format where it's definitely going to be banned. So if you do have it, I honestly would recommend selling it because it's $50 at the moment. But I'm going to be going over why this one card is super powerful and pairing it with the sneaky new Albaz package and the new Fallen and the Virtuous that comes out of the structure deck. It's a quick play spell that gives the deck, pretty much any deck that utilizes it, but especially Blue Eyes too, being able to give the deck even more recursion and being able to dodge hand traps. Basically, the Albaz package with Sanctifier Dragon honestly adds so much to the deck. And suddenly, your classic Blue Eyes Dragon deck is dropping an end board so toxic, you'll swear you're piloting Branded Despia in 2022 all over again. And again, this isn't just nostalgia, this is Blue Eyes infused with some branded toxicity. So very different than the normal Blue Eyes deck. Let's just go straight into the deck profile so I can show you guys what I've been cooking up. So we're going to be going over the Blue Eyes portion first. Nothing's really changed. This is the budget version as well, no Primite. If you do have the Primite engine, I would recommend it. I'm trying to make it as budget as possible for you guys. With Sanctifier already being a $50 card, yeah, it's kind of hard to make it budget, but I'm going to make do with what I can, obviously not including my Primite cards. But nothing really changes. I feel like 2 Bingo Machine Goes, just to add to consistency, 3 Neo Kaiser Seahorse. Again, these are technically 1 card starters. Then we have the 4 bricks. Unfortunately, we do have to play them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bricks. Technically, I guess Roar isn't necessarily a brick. So 5 bricks. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1.5 card starters, and then 9 1 card starters with the Blue Eyes engine. 14 technically 1 card starters. Obviously, you need a discard for wishes, but Bingo Machine Go is basically 2 more copies of wishes. And again, nothing really changes too much with the budget version of this deck. If you do have the Primate engine, you could include obviously those 7 cards and remove 2 of these, 2 of these. And then I think that's pretty much it. I would keep it honestly a little above 40, but you can remove these 4 cards. Then going over the small little branded package we have inside the main deck, we have 1 copy of Fallen of Albaz and 3 copies of the Fallen and Virtuous. So in case you guys are new to this channel or new to this card in general, this card was just released in the structure deck, and basically what it is a quick play spell that pops 1 face-up card on the field. So honestly, you use it as defense, but you could also use it to pop your own cards. If you normally summon Sage to grab your Maiden, and obviously they have an effect failure, they have something that's going to go ahead and pop it, you can then go ahead and chain your Fallen and Virtuous in your hand to pop your own card. Then you're going to go ahead and send your Albion, the Branded Dragon, from your extra deck to the graveyard. And then during the end phase, this is going to go ahead and set you another Fallen and Virtuous. Then you can kind of do that for the remainder of the game. As long as you have access to one of these cards, you're able to get the other 2 every turn. So it's basically like a pseudo DPE engine, if you guys have been playing long enough, how that card was able to pop a card every turn, once on your turn, once on your opponent's turn. So again, super powerful engine. You pop your own card, you send an Albion the Branded Dragon, it sets another one during the end phase, and you kind of do that on the next turn as well. And then obviously your Fallen of Albaz. This honestly isn't too much of a brick because you can utilize it as a normal summon if you wanted to, and infuse your opponent's cards. And I'll be showing that combo at the end of the video, why this package is so powerful in this deck. If you guys want me to go over more of the Fallen Virtuous, let me know, leave a comment. But that's it for the mini branded in-engine package. I'll be going over the extra deck cards right now as well. But before we do that, let's go over all of the non-engine that the deck can utilize. We have 1 Pot of Prosperity for consistency, Called by the Grave, 3 Veiler, 3 Nib, 3 Droll, 3 Ash, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. So we have room for a lot of non-engine. Again, if you do have the Primite engine, you have access to more starters plus another engine that gives you some great recursion. So obviously you'd be able to supplement that as you will, even removing maybe an effect failure, some of your hand traps, maybe a Pot of Prosperity. But again, if you want to include Pot of Prosperity, you technically have like 15 1-card starters, because obviously Pot of Prosperity will be able to dig into your deck and kind of search for your starters. So again, the deck has a lot of room for non-engine cards. So the deck doesn't really struggle going second with the amount of hand traps we play. If you wanted to supplement these for board breakers, you can do that as well. There's honestly lots of room for flexibility with this deck. And it's honestly a great beginner deck. I feel like the combos are super linear once you get them down. If you guys are interested in those, I have a ton of Blue Eyes combos on my channel as well if you guys want to check those out. Then going over the extra deck, we have Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon, mirrorjade, 3 copies of Albion, and then 1 copy of Lubellion. So unlike my previous versions where I just had a mini Albaz engine in the extra deck, this is pretty much the main thing we're going to be doing in the deck, is using our opponent's monsters to fuse. Mirrorjade is such a great boss monster, honestly. Being able to utilize your Fallen of Albaz to go into Mirrorjade on your opponent's turn. Again, I will be going over the combo right now, but Mirrorjade requires a Fallen of Albaz plus 1 fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link monster. So you pretty much go into Fallen of Albaz, special summon it. You can discard a card, use itself plus 1 of your opponent's boss monsters, and then pretty much go into your Mirrorjade, which is crazy. This is one of the only outs to a lot of tower monsters that this deck can utilize. So a lot of the times this deck struggles going over like high attack monsters or cards that like can't be targeted with stuff. So you use them to fusion summon instead. Again, and then going into a Mirrorjade, which is a banish, and then also when Mirrorjade leaves the field because of one of your opponent's cards, it is also a nuke the field. So it's a Regeki, a banish, a super powerful card, and again, Fallen of Albaz gives us access to that. And then we have food for our quick play spell, and then also Lubellion. If you ever need to go into one of your opponent's dark monsters, again, with Branded being such a popular deck, you can utilize one of your opponent's dark monsters plus Fallen of Albaz to go into Lubellion. Light monsters with Albion, and obviously Sanctifier is the key to our toxic combo, which I will be going over shortly. Then the rest of the Blue Eyes stuff, I've thinned it down a lot, unfortunately, because the amount of fusions we're playing. But we're still able to go into your typical Blue Eyes Spirit / Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit, your Ancient Fairy Life Dragon when you need to go for game, obviously 2 copies of Spirit, Heradic, and then 1 copy of Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon and Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. If you wanted, you could honestly even cut the Lubellion to go into a second Heradic Seal, or whatever other cards if you want to do the Crimson Dragon package in here as well, or a Star Slayer for going second. Again, the deck has a lot of room to kind of play around with in the extra deck. So I'm gonna show you guys what happens if we just had 4 blank cards and plus our Sage with Eyes of Blue as our 1 card starter. So we're gonna go ahead and normal summon our Sage with Eyes of Blue. Sage is gonna go ahead and grab us our Maiden of White from our deck to our hand. We're gonna go ahead and send our Maiden of White from our hand to the graveyard, and that's gonna go ahead and set a True Light face up on our side of the field. From here, we can go ahead and activate True Light a little early. That's going to go ahead and get us our Wishes for Eyes of Blue. So we're going to go ahead and set that down. Now we can go ahead and activate Wishes for Eyes of Blue. We're going to go ahead and discard 1 card. And that's going to grab us another copy of Sage and a Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. And then from here, we can just go ahead and utilize our Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. And that's going to go ahead and special summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck to our side of the field. And then since Blue Eyes is special summon, we can go ahead and trigger our Maiden of White to special summon herself as well. Then we can go ahead and banish our Wishes for Eyes of Blue. That's going to go ahead and attach a Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to our Blue Eyes White Dragon. And that just gets Wishes out of the graveyard. So if we wanted, we can grab another one later on. And plus, we were able to have the Neo Blue Eyes in the graveyard to get the graveyard effect as well. Then we're going to go ahead and link off our Sage with Eyes of Blue. That's going to go ahead and special summon our Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Spirit's going to go ahead and grab us our Mausoleum of White from the deck to our hand. Now we can just go ahead and activate our Mausoleum of White. So now we have a second normal summon. From here, we're just going to go ahead and normal summon our second Sage with Eyes of Blue. That's going to go ahead and grab us an effect failure from our deck to hand. Because this is not a once per turn, it's a once per copy basically. So now we have our first interruption plus 3 additional cards in hand. So from here, we're going to go ahead and use our Sage and our Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's going to go into our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So I got special summon to our side of the field. Then we can go ahead and link off our Maiden of White for another Spirit with Eyes of Blue because we need 2 dragons to go into our Heradic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize both of these cards to go into Heradic. And it might not look like a lot, but that's pretty much our end board right there. We have a Heradic Seal, which is a bounce. We have a Graveyard Negate that's also going to turn into a Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon for an additional negate. So that's 2 negates right there, a bounce, and an effect failure. So that's 4 interruptions plus 3 additional cards in hand. So that would be your typical Blue Eyes end board. Obviously with the branded version, it's a lot more toxic. So we're gonna go ahead and pass turn to our opponent. Whatever our opponent does, we're gonna go ahead and in the draw phase, just shotgun this out because we need to get this off the field. We're gonna go ahead and go into our Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. So this has a quick effect. When a card or effect is activated on the field, quick effect, you can negate the activation. And if you do, this card gains 1000 attack until the end of this turn. But we need to get our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon off the field because this is kind of a floodgate as well. So now that's off the field. So you're gonna want your opponent to establish some form of board at this point. Whether they have a light, dark monster, or wait till they have an XYZ, a link monster, it really depends. So once they have multiple monsters on board, you can go ahead and bounce our Heradic Seal, bounce one of their opponent's monsters. Obviously, you're going to have to know what they're playing and pick it wisely because then from there, we're going to go ahead and special summon our Fallen of Albaz to our side of the field. Fallen of Albaz is then going to go ahead and discard a card. If you don't want to do the Toxic Lock, you don't need the Sanctifier. Technically, you don't need the Sanctifier. You can also create a budget version of this deck, and then you can use Fallen of Albaz plus 1 Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, or Link monster. So again, using your opponent's monsters, you can go into mirrorjade, which is a super powerful card because it does have the banish effect, which is a quick effect. This is going to go ahead and send your Albion to the graveyard to banish one of your opponent's cards. Then during the end phase, the Albion is going to go ahead and grab you your Fallen and Virtuous from the deck. So that's going to go ahead and give you some recursion. That gives you a pop then on your follow-up turn. Plus it gives you a nuke on the field because whenever something happens to your mirrorjade, you're going to go ahead and nuke your opponent's field. And again, you're going to use your Fallen of Albaz plus one of your opponent's special summon extra deck monsters. So you could do that route, or let's just say we bounce one of your opponent's monsters and then they have a light monster still on board. We can go ahead, again, discard a card, use our Fallen of Albaz plus our opponent's light monster. Then we're going to go ahead and go into our Albion, the Branded Dragon. Then Albion can go ahead and banish your Fallen of Albaz plus one of your light spellcasters. We're just going to go ahead, Sage with Eyes of Blue plus Fallen of Albaz. We're going to go ahead and banish these two. That's going to go ahead and go into our Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon, which is a really cool card, quick effect. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effect, so it has some built-in defense as well, 3000 attack, and then it's quick effect. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target 2 monsters in any graveyard, special summon both monsters, 1 to each side of the field. Another thing, you want to make sure all of your monsters are in defensive mode. You're not going to want your opponent to crash the floodgate we're going to be giving them. So we're going to go ahead, we could honestly just special summon Blue Eyes to our side of the field. So we're going to go ahead, this gets special summon the X Monster Zone. This is going to special summon Blue Eyes to our side of the field. And then we're going to go ahead and give our opponent our Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Now, obviously, since Blue Eyes was special summoned, you can go ahead and special summon your Maiden of White just to kind of build a wall as well. That's the board right now. Everything in defensive mode. And then now your opponent has Spirit with Eyes of Blue. And in case you don't know what this card states, the very first line, you cannot special summon except dragon monsters. That's pretty much it. So your opponent has Spirit with Eyes of Blue and they're unable to special summon anything that's not a dragon monster. And again, 300 attack, so it pretty much can't beat over anything, especially all your cards are in defensive mode anyway. We can also use True Light to set another Wishes for Eyes of Blue. So we're getting all kinds of recursion, and again, so much stuff. Once our Albion ends up going to the graveyard, whether we use it as link material, instead of Lubellion, the Staring Dragon, I would advise adding a second copy of Heretic Seal, because then you can be able to get your Albion in the graveyard on the next turn, and then that kind of gives you access to the Fallen and Virtuous anyways. But again, even with just this board right here, super powerful. We have 2 additional cards in hand, Effect Veiler, a wall of monsters, big bodied monsters as well, Wishes for Eyes of Blue for recursion, and again, your opponent is now officially dragon locked. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Crazy end board, super budget as well, aside from the Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon. Obviously, this is probably the most expensive card in the deck, easily, with it being around $50 right now. And all the other cards are penny cards. It's a penny stock deck, honestly. So I feel like around $70 maybe you can easily build this deck. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, if you don't want to do the Sanctifier package, you could easily not do Sanctifier and do the Fallen of Albaz stuff and just go into Mirrorjade anyways. And Mirrorjade being a crazy boss monster with the banish slash nuke as well. So there's the budget alternative as well. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of this deck, more Blue Eyes content, let me know. Leave a comment letting me know what you guys want to see. But I think that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.